Hello 7th graders, this is Mrs. Alexander, and in this video I'd like to overview your unit assessments. So at the end of each unit in English 7, you will be taking an assessment. Now this assessment has two parts. There's a part 1 and a part 2. So I'd like to show you and give you some information regarding this assessment. So one way you can find this is by navigating to your class plan on the left-hand side, and you'll see that this is due when your assessment is due. The other way to find your unit assessments is they're always located in lesson 18. So depending on which unit you're in, if you go to lesson 18, you will find the two parts of the assessment. So right now this is my flipped classroom module. But I need to go to my unit assessment. So I'm going to go to Unit 1. I'm going to go over the Unit 1 assessment, but the Lesson 18 assessments are the same in every unit, meaning that they'll have a Part 1 and a Part 2. Obviously, it'll have different content, but it'll be the same structure. So you'll notice here I have a Part 1 unit assessment, and I also have a Part 2 unit assessment. So you'll notice they both have due dates. The Part 2 assessment has an end date, and this means that this is a teacher-graded assignment, and those have end dates, which means after this time, you won't be able to submit this assessment. Alright, so let's look at the Part 1 assessment. This is the multiple choice assessment, and you only have one attempt to complete this assessment. If you click on your unit assessment, you will be taken to a multiple choice test. This is about a 16 to 20 question test worth 60 points. It'll ask you questions about your learning throughout the unit, and it'll also give you a passage to read, maybe 2 passages, and then answer comprehension or analysis questions based on the skills and standards you learned throughout the unit. You also will probably have some grammar, usage, and mechanics questions, which you covered throughout the unit as well. Now, when you're ready to submit the Part 2 assessment, I will show you what that looks like, because I can show you what this looks like. If you click on the Part 2, it is a written assessment. So you will choose one question. Be sure you read the directions carefully and choose a question and then review the rubric. Your responses will be typed on the assessment answer sheet right here. All responses will be scanned via Turnitin.com. The only outside sources needed to complete this assessment are your lesson pages and lesson text within the unit. So this will be scanned for originality via Turnitin.com. So what you can first do is click on the Part 2 questions. This will open up a word. You can choose one of the questions. Your responses will need to be typed in the answer sheet template, which is back on the other screen. I'll show you in a moment. You will not type your answers on this sheet. Alright, so once you've chosen one question, you could maybe copy and paste it onto the other document. And now I'm ready for the answer sheet template. I also might want to look at the rubric, but I'm ready to look at... Alright, here is the answer sheet template. So you'll notice that this is just going to be your answer. So you won't keep the question on here. I'm just pasting it because I'd like to be able to answer the question with this here. But before I submit, I'm going to delete this. So I'm going to put my name here. You would put your name, your last name. You would fill all this in. You'd put my name here, Mrs. Alexander. Alright, your course number, English 7A or English 7B, and the assignment number, 1.18 Part 2. And then for your title, you would put Question 1A. Alright, so this is where you'll type your response. I'm going to highlight this here. This is where you're going to type your response. So you'll delete this and type your response there. And I'm going to make sure when I'm answering the prompt that I'm addressing the first bullet point in the first paragraph. I'm answering all parts of the question, and then I'm addressing the second bullet point in the second paragraph. Alright, when you're ready, if you did cite any sources, be sure to cite them here. If you were citing a book from the lessons, you can put the author last name, the first name, In the title, this is an MLA format. Oh, and lastly, just as practicing in our MLA format, you would put your last name up here, and it should keep the page number if I don't delete it. So if you'd like to keep the page numbers, just delete the last name, and you'd put your last name there. That is your header, and then you would see you could do that for the second page as well. All right, everyone, I hope this helps you understand your assessment. So all in all, your assessment will be worth 100 points, 60 points for part 1 and 40 points for part 2. You will not have any opportunities to redo this assessment right now, so please be sure that you try your very best on your first attempts and submit your best work.